Welcome back to Razmafzar TV. Hi, Bede. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's nice hearing from you.
Good to see you. We are going to talk about now Edinburgh Castle, and Usman was also there and took these nice pictures. We are going to talk about that. Okay, so
Excellent.
look at this, Bede.
This is what, 17th century? Something
Yeah.
like that? Yeah.
Yes.
So
Beautiful.
probably quite a thick breastplate.
Yeah.
Good leg protection. I see there's a gouget to one side. Pardon
Yes.
me. So this is probably, I'm not going to say it's proof. I can't see a mark on it where it's been proofed, but it probably was good protection at long distance from musket balls and things.
Yes. Yes.
They probably wore this with a buffer coat. They weren't as worried about protecting their arms or their legs. So remember the waist on that is actually your physical waist, up where your navel is, not down where your pants belt is nowadays.
Yep.
That pendant leg protection would go probably almost all the way down your thighs.
Yeah.
It would be the core of your body is protected, basically. This looks like a pikeman's armor.
Yeah.
Because pikemen, essentially, if they were shot at, they were just relying on the fact that there were so many of them that you'd be unlucky to be the one that was shot. If you've got a lot of people, there's a fair chance that any bullet that's coming in is going to hit the armor. Your arms are moving around, you're holding pike, you're doing other things. The kind of spread of early muskets, like they were, when you shot one, you had a cone of destruction where the bullet could be anywhere in there. It's almost like quantum mechanics, actually. And you don't know exactly where that bullet's going to go, but it doesn't matter because there's 1,000 people shooting at the same time. It's going to clear a whole section. But this was a compromise. Full plate armor was very expensive and had to be precisely fitted. This, you just had to get in the general size range, small, large, medium, or something like that.
That's why it looks like as if it was made for a fat person, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that design of breastplate, that weird rib shape, which replicates clothing of the period. So they didn't just make it up, but it also is very good at deflecting spears or swords or even to some extent bullets. It's like they didn't want to give up armor because it was still working. It's once they get to things like brown besses and flintlock guns in general that armor becomes relatively pointless.
Yes.
It's interesting. There's a book on Swordsmen of the British Empire, where they take all these quotations from various people at various times, and the major use for things like mail and maybe char even, and helmets was in cavalry things when they were using sabres. Not much use against pistols, even. And pistols weren't fired, like in a Western movie, 50 metres away. They were fired from 1 metre away mainly, so that they could do a lot of damage. And they're often quite large caliber. So, but these pikemen, you're not going to get any closer than the length of the pike. Of course, this is. It's amazing how this whole concept of using really long spears evolved multiple times. So, like the Macedonian, well, actually, probably the Thebans first came up with the idea of very long spears. And then the Macedonians took it up and the Hellenistic rulers used it for centuries. And then it died out. And then the Swiss and the Scots redeveloped it.
Yes, they
and
did.
I think the Scots invented a schiltron, which is a form of massed infantry deployment. And when they had to fight the English, they imported pikes from Europe because they weren't making those very long spears. And when they put the two of the things together, they caused great problems for the English, despite the fact that the English usually had superior firepower with archers and whatnot. So, I mean, you know, this is in this area where thought on warfare is changing. Pikemen were often used in combination with musketeers. The Spanish had tercios. And when you look at these, you think to yourself, well, this was effective at the time it was being made. But within 100 years, there will be no pikemen. There will be just muskets with bayonets on the end. So one man can do both jobs. You know, possibly not as efficiently as a pikeman, but hey, you don't have to pay a second guy.
Yes.
So economy rules in warfare.
Economy, absolutely.
But they're not. It's a nice, you know, it's a nice setup. You get a full idea of what was going on.
Yep.
I see they've got a nice model down next to it too. What have we here? This is it 18th century?
Yes.
Or 19th century?
Okay, I have a better picture here.
Yeah. So this is a siege, obviously. There are people falling off the walls. Not a good sign if you're one of the people on the walls.
They're red coats, right? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, definitely the red coats. Do we have a title for it?
Unfortunately not. I think I told you the problem we have here, right?
Oh, yeah. I remember you saying it really looks very interesting because this is a breach in the wall, probably made by cannon fire or possibly by a mine. And they're breaking into the fort. You can see big towers further down.
Yeah.
The people being thrown off seem to be wearing European uniforms as well. So but I mean, even in the Indian Mutiny, a lot of the sepoys wore European-style uniforms, so it'd be hard to tell them apart. But yeah, you wouldn't want to. I mean, people who led these kind of escalades, not that they're using ladders, but they're climbing up the pile of stone that has been formed from the blowing out the hole in the wall. You wouldn't want to be the first guy. That's why they gave them prizes and everything like that, because it'd be so. I mean,
oh God,
the level of carnage in these battles is just hard to imagine.
Yeah, really hard to imagine.
So this is more of the same thing. We've got. It's kind of a naive painting, isn't it? I'm looking at the proportions of the sword of the officer in the foreground. It's really completely over the top.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah, it's very hard to work out I assume they're crossing a moat going for the breach. And you can see a ladder floating in the water and various other bits and pieces. As I say, I assume the guy falling off the wall was shot by people on the outside because there's nobody on that section of wall that have come up. They're all wearing dark uniforms with white cross belts. It's quite evocative, though, isn't it?
It is, yes.
You really get the feeling for how dangerous it is. I know at the time everybody was probably very gung-ho about it. It does look a bit... I'm pretty certain the regimental flag is there. We would be able to find out who it was if we really dug deeply into it. It's an interesting painting because it's, as I say, it seems a bit naive in the sense that the faces and that aren't as well modelled as you would usually get. But on the other hand, it's really got the feeling of motion and I don't know, danger that you don't normally get. Have you got that feeling like 18th and 19th century paintings of battles? Often everybody is so elegant and so clean, whereas this is a little bit more like it must have really been. And the details of the guns and that, they're kind of sketched in. They're not very precise. There's a gun laying on a rock there, and you couldn't really tell what period it's from because it doesn't have very much detail.
No.
Yeah, as I say, I think that might have been done on purpose. I think they're trying to get that across. Some of these mannequins are really amazing. Expressions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he killed someone. I just realized.
Yeah, there's someone dead at his feet. Yeah. So red coats and blue coats. Blue is usually French, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very strange hats. I can't really see the purpose of those hats. Maybe when it rains, you just get this water spout coming out the front and out the back corners. I don't know.
Look at this.
These hats, on the other hand, were supposedly designed to defeat saber cuts to the head or sword cuts in general.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Apparently, they're very uncomfortable to wear. I've heard reenactors talk about them, and that they love looking like this, and of course, it makes you look taller and more impressive. But on the other hand, they're very uncomfortable. It's like those things they wear around their throat, stocks.
Is it like heavy because it's heavy, or what's the reason?
I think it's heavy and it's hot. It doesn't. Some of these are made from leather. Some of them are made from painted fabric and things. I don't know. I mean, they've got the visor, which is good because it keeps the sun out of your eyes. But they give you no protection for the side or back of the head. So on a sunny day, you would be getting hot, but then your head is covered by this enormous tall thing, which I'm guessing is a bit unwieldy. Yeah. I mean, the tallest hat I've got is one of those Caucasian sheepskin hats.
Yes.
and they just make you feel shaggy. Got some nice bits of military kit here.
Yeah.
It's a very nice looking saber.
Very nice.
A kind of pickle hobby helmet to one side, but maybe it's a police helmet. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Does look a bit like a Bobby's one. The military buckles are very nice.
Mm. That's right.
Yeah, the Great Britain, because of the trade with India, became incredibly rich.
Yeah.
And you can see that in the fittings on things, because like officers bought their own swords, people in the ranks were issued with swords. So therefore the officers' swords are often very high quality. And uniforms, I don't know whether I know they were issued, but I don't know whether you had to pay back for them if you were just a regular enlisted man. Officers again bought their own uniforms; they had them tailored for them. It was a class-based thing, I think.
Yes.
But really, yeah, I can see medals and awards up on the back wall there.
Yes. Here we have a better.
That's quite an effective looking saber there. It's got a spear point, so it'd be good for stabbing. Yeah. It looks like the blade's solid enough to give a really good cut as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have these magnificent buckles and adornments for your uniform. I was really surprised that those buckles on the left there, where they're a two-piece buckle that fit together and lock like that.
Could you explain more?
Sorry?
Could you explain more? Expand on it? What do you mean?
Oh, okay. So these buckles are not for adjusting the length of the belt. They're just for doing it up. So they're always in the front. And there's a left piece and a right piece. And one has a disc and the other has a slot. And you push the disc through the slot, then turn it and pull it, and it sits flat. Now, I was wondering about the origin of these buckles, and I saw a late Julyrid painting, early Timurid, and there was a person wearing one of these buckles on his sword belt. And I had no idea they were that old. I thought they were invented in the 16th, 17th century or something like that. And I was totally wrong. I think the painting was from 1370, something like that.
Yeah.
Western Iran. It might have even been someone like Rustam, because he usually dressed quite well.
Yes.
So it's really funny, just thinking of it when I saw that. Now, this That's probably a Wilkinson blade, I suppose. I'm not up on British swords. We've got a etched blade with various trophies and references. There's that medallion on the crossguard, which I don't remember seeing this. This is actually quite an interesting handguard on the sword.
I mean, the quality of the blade, the picture quality is not that good to tell, but do you remember from Klingenthal? And there were many of them made of folded steel, how beautiful they were. Do you remember? Pattern welded steel? Yeah. Yes. I wonder if this one. I cannot tell from this pic.
Oh, no, it would be hard to tell. Pattern welded steel was more of an affectation than it was a necessity, because they'd already got to the stage where they were making steel that had all the qualities that you
Do you remember in Klingenthal, they had all those old plates they put on top of each other, they hammered that? Do you remember? We talked about them. How beautiful it was.
It's just part of this thing where swords were not entirely primary weapons of any sort, so that there were fashions. Like they went through a fashion trying to duplicate Wurtz, which the Russians got right, I think, to some extent. But it went on for a long time. And Wurtz, by the time they tried to do this, they're actually making steel that was more practical. I mean, Wurtz is really good, but when you consider how much work goes into a single sword blade, you could have made 5 other sword blades that were
at least
practically as good.
At least,
This is the reason why Europe was able to export sword blades to the Middle East and India and places like that, who had fully functioning manufacturing capability to make high-quality Wurtz sword blades. But when you've got an equipping army, cheaper European blades remounted with native hilts was a much better idea.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that's a cheap blade. That would have been very expensive in its time.
Yeah.
Sergeant William Haviland at Malbucker. I don't know. We've got people wearing those incredible conical Hessian type headgear. I don't know the names for these things. I mean, we're lucky in Farsi. You've got 1 or 2 words, hood and whatever for helmets and hats. It's not as complicated as it is in English, where they kept taking words from other languages. Japanese commander in Hong Kong surrendered to Lieutenant Simon White, commanding officer, as released as a POW in 1945. That'd be interesting.
Look at this. The museum is really proud of this.
Oh, well, I mean, this has got historic reference, doesn't it? I mean, the occupation of Hong Kong by the Japanese was not something the English were very happy about. And in fact, it wasn't something they even anticipated. They were quite happy for the Chinese to be being killed in large numbers by the Japanese army, the Guangdong army and things like this, never thinking that maybe they'd be next on the list. And I think that was
Yes.
So this is a military mount.
It's a military mount, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The peg is missing, but that's probably because the sword was taken apart to read it. So,
here let's show it to our viewers. The peg should be here. It's missing here.
Yeah. I think it was amazing that the Japanese, who used their swords very vigorously, could rely on one peg to hold the handle in place.
Sometimes
or sometimes there are 2. Sometimes there's 2 holes, but only one peg is being used because the sword has been remodeled. But the thing is, they're not just going, like fencing, da 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 da. They're full on whacking with both hands. And these swords stayed together. You never hear of the sword blade flying out because the peg broke.
Never.
I mean, bamboo pegs are incredibly strong. But you just got to think, they got to this stage a long time ago and said, we don't need to do anything more complicated than this. And it also means we can take the thing apart and put the blade in its special
Yeah, that's wonderful.
white
Japanese.
scabbard and put all the fittings into their little fitted boxes. They had
Lovely.
the whole thing worked out. I mean, it's like the Indians, where the typical handle for a tulwar is hollow, filled with a resinous wood gum, heated up, and then you put the blade in and get the angle right, and it sets, and that will last you for 20 years. Well, in my case, I got swords here that are 200 years old, and they're still in perfect condition. There's no sign of deterioration. And remember, in your analysis of grips on Persian swords too, they've got various pastes they use and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, unbelievable.
It's so yeah. We forget about sophistication sometimes when we look at these. We think, oh, it's just a sword. No, that's some kind of spadroon, is it?
Yeah, very beautiful.
Yeah, there's groups of swords in European, like in the 18th century, small swords and things like this, which are really designed for just very precisely stabbing the guy you're fighting. Flick his sword out of the way, stab him, and then move on. Of course, that guy doesn't necessarily stop fighting when you put a neat little hole through him, because this is one of the problems. And the other thing is, of course, you've got to be trained how to do it. Whereas you give somebody a saber and they just hack with it, it works. It's not very elegant, but it works.
It works, yes, it does.
I mean, I think I remember reading British officers talking about Indian troops in India who were working for the British, who were, employed by the East India Company, saying how they would go back to camp and they'd practice swordsmanship all afternoon. And they said, this is probably why they're very good. This kind of understatement, which in the case of these British officers was probably meant to be humorous, because there's, tradition of humour in Britain that goes back a long way. And you kind of, see, look at that. That's
okay, now we have
beef.
Yes.
Yeah. Much beefier than a small sword. Probably still got it could be a double-edged blade with a rib on both sides, or it could be triangular with a flat back as a spadroon or something like that.
You see that 1796 to 1822 regimental officers' swords, right?
And you could do a bit of damage with that if you were skilled.
Look at the blade.
I mean, it doesn't have very much hand protection, but these people move fast. I think they, looking back, it's very hard to say. I see people who fence and I see people who do HEMA and things like that. Any of them would have been able to put me out of the possibility of further combat without too much trouble. Then you've got to think about the guys at the time. They would have been even better simply because of the fact that they might die. And that gives a focus to the mind when you're fencing. Whereas when you're doing it with blunted weapons, you kind of think, I might break a finger. It's not the same. Though it is a strong incentive to do things correctly. So here we have a socket bayonet and a musket of some sort. Is it? It's not clear enough for me to tell. It looks like a flintlock.
Yeah, I think so. I cannot tell from this picture.
Yeah. I mean, there's a really interesting thing in the development of firearms in Europe, where they went from it goes bang and makes a lot of smoke and throws whatever to it's really precise, because they developed rifle weapons quite early. And then they worked out, no, you don't have to spend all that money on each gun. You can make them smooth bore, because they had smooth bore at the same time. It wasn't like they'd forgotten how to make them. Make them smooth bore, make the bullet a bit smaller, so as the barrel gets dirtier, it's still able to be fired. And just have thousands of people shooting at the same time. And this went on, right? I mean, the American Civil War was that transitional period between going for accuracy and going for mass fire.
That's
And
fine.
once enough people were shooting for accuracy, then nobody wanted to stand up for the mass fire, so the whole process of warfare changed. But I don't know, those like the time of Marlborough and the 7 Years' War and the War of the Spanish Succession, these must have been terrifying if you were a common soldier and lined up. There's nothing you can do. If a bullet's going to hit you, it's going to hit you. And you can see the guys who are shooting at you because they're not that far.
True.
Oh, I don't know. The mental resilience that people must have had is amazing. Or the level of PST, post-traumatic stress disorder they must have gone through.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have this one as well. Let me just go ahead.
What have we got here? So we've got Scottish broadswords.
Yeah.
We've got, I'm not sure what that musket-like gun is. It looks like a flintlock. Yeah, I was misreading some of the dots as something other than they are. A nice pistol, mid-1700s. Looks like fairly solid bore, so, like quite a big bore. So, again, these are, you ride up to somebody, not as common when this was made, and you just put your pistol as near to them as you can get it and pull the trigger. And the ball is so big that it blasts a hole through them, and it doesn't matter whether it hits them in the shoulder or hits them in the mid-body, or even sometimes if it hits them in an arm or a leg, they're completely unable to fight after that, or they're dead, or they die sometime soon after. Horrific injuries.
Horrific.
But, of course, you could do that and pull the trigger and nothing happened because the powder has fallen out of the prison pan, or something goes wrong, or the touch hole is plugged with a bit of powder that got stuck in it or a bit of dirt. And you could be standing there going, and if the other guy's got a sword, he might kill you before you have a chance to do anything else. Warfare's always dangerous.
Yes.
Also, that we've got some interesting swords, and in the foreground, some silver figures of cavalrymen.
Yeah.
Which look to be very high quality. The swords are straight. They look, I can't tell, but they look either late 18th century or up to mid 19th century, something like that. I honestly can't tell. I don't know enough about British swords or any swords of this period in the West. A good luck flag. Well, that didn't work, did it? Sorry. I mean, they did have some. So this is much more modern.
Yes.
I still think it's strange that modern infantrymen actually carry more weight than a knight in full plate armour.
Yeah. Many people don't know that. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, soldiers really have a lot of work to do because the people planning these things, their idea is you've got to have everything you're going to need if you get isolated. So your platoon will have somebody carrying this, somebody carrying that. There'll be food, there'll be water, there'll be lots and lots of ammunition. And ammunition is not light.
No. Yeah.
And you've got to think these guys have got to carry so much. There's no running quickly because it's just not physically possible. You're carrying too much weight.
Yes.
That looks like a general officer's sword on the left.
Yes.
Mamluk pattern.
Yes. Mamluk pattern. Exactly.
And I assume that's it scabbard. Then is that a belt? The red, is that a belt, or is it? Oh, it's a ceremonial mace, isn't it?
Mace, yes, like a base.
Or what do they call them in Germany? The general officer's baton.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
it is.
So this might be the complete kit for a general officer.
Yes, you see that here. You can see that clearly, right?
Yeah, that's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
They went to a lot of trouble. I mean, that's got a pronounced yeoman, that blade. Do you notice that?
Yes.
There's a notch where the yeoman comes up.
Yes. Very nice.
This is Middle Eastern influence on European general officers' swords. Generals had these swords, nobody else did.
Yes, look at this. Beautiful, huh?
Yeah, it's great work. Oh, look at the figure on top of the commander's baton.
Oh, that's right.
There's a horseman. Sir George killing the dragon, almost for sure.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
I mean, obviously generals are important people and they like to dress well. You can't blame them. It's a good idea.
Yes.
Oh, dear. That looks very bleak. You get the impression that looking at the soul, I assume this is a diorama.
Is it covered in dust?
That's what I'm getting at. The soldier is becoming part of the countryside as the dust kind of all settles down. Could you imagine, now, bearing in mind that the British wore the same uniforms when they went to India, could you imagine how hot and uncomfortable they must have been?
Yeah.
I mean, even in Spain. I mean, think of marching around Spain during the Napoleonic Wars, and everybody's wearing stuff that's designed for wearing in, like mild seasons in France and England. And you're in Spain where it's getting so hot.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
We go back to the Japanese, right? So
the lucky flag with all of its inscriptions around this, the rising sun. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
It's interesting. Some of these were captured, and this has kind of got symbolism going back a couple of hundred years, maybe. But all focused on the new nationalism of the Japanese state, post Meiji. So it's very modern but very old at the same time.
At the same time, exactly.
Yeah, and a nice katana.
Yes, as usual. Yeah.
Well, there's a person you wouldn't want to meet in a fight. I think the lethality of modern soldiers is very high.
Yeah.
The casualty rates don't reflect how dangerous a modern soldier is.
Yeah.
Because, they're used more sparingly because of the fact you don't need 20,000 of them in one place to win a battle.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. Oh, an entrenching tool of some sort.
Yeah.
The sign is for a gun. Above it, I can see the trigger guard. But the thing in the picture is for digging trenches.
Yes.
And stuff like that. It's quite I mean, as used by Roman legionaries 2,000 years before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's the Sten gun above it. Not a particularly well. In Australia at the same time, somebody developed what's called an Owen gun, which is even more peculiar looking than that, but apparently a lot better at surviving harsh conditions. The Sten had a propensity for getting things go wrong. From what I've been told, again, I'm not an expert on firearms. I could be entirely wrong. Nice sets of decorations, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
And miniatures down below. So you have your full-size medals, but when you're going to things like parades and that on Armistice Day or something like that, you often wear your miniatures because some of the soldiers that were marching in these things were decorated from 2 world wars. They had so many medals because they'd taken part in so many battles, and some of them were exceptionally brave. Yes. And so there's kind of, you have the main, I'm talking through my hat, I don't know. You have the main medal, that's the one that you're given when the king or the queen or whoever pins it on your uniform. Then you have a miniature that you could wear for formal occasions and whatnot, but it's not as big because if you've got a lot of medals and they're all full size, you're going to have trouble fitting them all on your chest.
Yeah.
There were some very brave people.
Yes. Oh.
So I think this is one of the weird things in modern warfare. Like it started in the early 1800s, late 1700s. of actually recognizing people's bravery and having a physical reminder that this person was very brave. I mean, it went on to having medals for just being in a campaign and things like that, but the medals that were given for bravery always had that special cachet, and people really knew what they meant. Of course, in the army, again, this is from stories I was told 40 years ago, people were very respected for particularly these fire bravery medals. I'm not going all the way up to the Victoria's Cross because I don't know. Oh, I have met someone who won a Victoria's Cross when I was a schoolboy. The then Governor of New South Wales had won one, Sir Roden Butler. I think lost a leg in the process or something heinous. But you know, the flying crosses, all these things are showing exceptional bravery. And when you consider just how deadly modern warfare is, I mean, going back to the late 19th century, to be brave in the face of threats that bad is really an exceptional quality.
Yes. Yes. Here we have that, right?
Yeah. Field Marshal's baton given by King George V to Sir William, I can't read the name there, Robertson,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, these are serious military people.
Yeah. And the other one is a general officer's dress sword, right? I cannot read the rest. Yeah.
I think presented to Sir William Robertson.
Oh, yeah.
So he rose from corporal to general officer, because they're talking photograph of Corporal W. Robertson, I assume William Robertson, 16th Lancers, circa 1880, and he went all the way up through the ranks. That is really impressive, and it says a lot about any army where merit is rewarded, as opposed to your popularity with whoever's running the country. Merit is something to be really respected. Oh yeah, there's some beautiful stuff here. I saw a film about people doing this kind of embroidery in Britain in one of the museums. They have a school for doing this silk and metal fibre embroidery. It is so detailed. The fact that people can still do it is amazing. It's so detailed. And there's, like this whole schools of design about how you design this and how you design that. Bandsman sword, Prince of Wales, Dragoon Guards, circa 1825. Your band still got some coffee left.
Yes. Oh, we had that already.
That. Yeah.
That was it, Pete. Very short. Right. Hope you enjoyed it.
It was interesting, wasn't it? Because it covered a lot of ground.
Yes,
from
it did.
The 17th century to the 20th century, maybe 21st century, because some of those uniforms look 21st century.
Yes.
You've got to admit that despite the sheer terror, I think, of those lines of soldiers shooting with muskets at you must have been really horrible.
Yes. To
modern warfare, where there are little groups of people hiding behind things and popping up and shooting you with weapons that can shoot through a brick wall. It's pretty fearsome.
Yes.
Oh dear.
It is.
I'm certainly. We're seeing wars all around the world at the moment, and it's not something we should be doing.
No.
I think the study of military stuff should be. Well, I'm not talking about the study of strategy and tactics and that for a modern army, but the kind of the historical study should be seen as that. It's a bit of escapism for modern people. Current war is so devastating. Even when it's not, even when people try and do surgical strikes, people get killed that they didn't intend to kill, and that's bad no matter how you look at it. So I'm not a.
Terrible.
Despite my interest in weapons and armor and tactics of a 500 years ago, I'm not a militarist in the sense that I think that these are
Of
things
course.
that we should be doing if we can avoid it. I mean, you've got to defend your homes, your country. I understand that, but yeah, it doesn't really help in the long run.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bede, for coming here today.
Thank
Hope to
you,
see you
because
soon.
that was really interesting. I've not seen anything from the Edinburgh Museum, and I've got to admit, I'm pretty certain that there would be people alive today that had relatives way back then that wore some of the armour and things, and that
Yes.
certainly from the 18th and 19th and 20th century stuff, there people, this is great grandfather did this or whatever.
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty impressive when you think about it.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.
You too.